Ask our clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Ranky. Here. Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. We will start with the Administration and Finance Committee. Alderman Vitale.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, in accordance of the 5 members of the Administration and Finance, we have some item 8, 9, and 10, and 11. 12, we holding it. And 13, Mr. Mayor, I move for adoptions. Then we have the City Attorney Claim Report, 14 through 16, to be placed on file. Mr. Mayor, I should move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
That'll be all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have the Public Works Committee. Alderman Barzak.
Mayor Devine. I would like to bring your attention to items number 17 through 20 on tonight's agenda, and also 23 and 24. They have been moved, excuse me, moved by all 5 members of the committee, and I move for adoption of the committee's report.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Ranky. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May.
item number 19, was that for approval or to place on file?
That was to place on file.
Good, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Barzak. Safety and Development Committee, Alderman Lysick.
I refer you to items 25, 26, 28, 30 as amended, and 31 on your agenda. Various resolutions and communications acted upon favorably by all 5 members of the committee. I move for adoption of the committee report on those items.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman May. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel.
I'd like to ask the committee chair the nature of the amendment on item number 30.
The amendment was, that's the Goodwill property, and the amendment was to put in all 6 green spaces in the parking lot.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
I then refer you to item 32 on your agenda. This is an ordinance to amend various sections of the RMC relative to defining and permitting secondhand retail uses. Acted upon favorably by 3 members of the committee, 2 members voting no. I move for adoption of the committee report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Vitale. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, Mayor Devine, I'm going to be voting against this. As I had addressed during the presentation from Mr. Stiebel, it would appear to me that creating a new distinction for resellers, resale shops versus thrift shops is a distinction without a difference, in that it'll look like a thrift store, which we have enough of in our community. We in fact probably have too many of in our community. The only distinction being that the establishment doesn't take donations. We have a good ordinance as it is. We don't need to make a change to the ordinance. Currently, thrift stores are allowed only in the C4 commercial district. That's mostly the southern end of Highway 100 in District 5. They aren't permitted in other areas in order to rein in on these thrift stores, and in that case, the status quo is appropriate, so I'll be voting against this.
Thank you, Alderman Haas.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Lysick.
That is not entirely correct, Alderman Haas. The current ordinances allow, number one, thrift stores and resale shops are treated as one entity under the current ordinance. This splits them. Resale shops are shops that do not accept items from the general public as donations on their doorstep for resale in their shop. Thrift shops do. We have many resale shops in this city, antique stores, there's a number of baseball card shops, there's coin shops, there's jewelers, that all exist under the current time, under the present ordinance, and will continue to be able to exist under this ordinance. What this does is restrict the thrift stores now to strictly the C4 area. They are permitted in a number of other districts, in all districts right now, and in all the commercial districts. This restricts them to the C4 district so that any things such as the Goodwill store would have to be in the C4, which is primarily in the Highway 100 corridor area. It would prohibit them from other areas of the district, so it is restricting these. The existing stores can stay there, they're grandfathered. This restricts any future stores from going in.
Thank you, Alderman Lysick. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I guess I have a concern as far as the resale versus donation issue. Are we going to send staff in and ask to see a receipt on an item on the shelf, proof that this was actually purchased, or is here a consignment versus it was donated? That's my concern about this. I'm going to, it's a little bit of the difference without a distinction, or distinction without a difference, whatever it is, as Alderman Haas said. It concerns me that we're drawing a line that I don't think is ever going to be enforced. I think there will be cases where people will go to what they think is a place that takes donations, and the management there will look at it and go, well, you know what, you can't just give this to me, but if I'll buy it from you for $1, and then we'll end up with the same kind of store. That would be my concern on this thing. I may be looking at this too closely, and if someone can answer and tell me where I'm wrong, I'd be glad to hear it.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Lysick.
I think the issue is not as much the fact that someone takes a donation. It's the fact that at some of these stores, the issue was people were leaving donations outside, littering up the area outside of the store. I don't think any of us cares if someone donates a guitar, for instance, to the guitar shop in the 3rd District, and he resells it. I don't think we have an issue with that. I think the issue comes when someone takes their household goods and drops them off at the doorstep in the middle of the night and says, well, here, you know, they're yours, resell them. That's the issue, and this, you're not gonna address the people that drop stuff off in the middle of the night any place, you know, unless you happen to be lucky enough to catch them. This is restricting those types of stores that, like Goodwill, that take those types of items on a regular basis and solicit those types of items from donors so that they can resell them in their stores.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I do know that when the bid has wrestled, the downtown area has wrestled with this question for years. And there was discussion as far as the value of the items on the shelf, okay? When you have shelves full of goods that are marked at 25 cents and 50 cents, to me, that's just a junk store, you know, and it doesn't really matter how it got there. And again, this goes back to how are these stores getting their inventory, you know, and again, if it looks like they take donations because they have 25-cent items on the shelf, you know, then people will assume they take donations. 8 o'clock on Sunday night when they're cleaning up their rummage sale leftovers and drop it there anyways. And there's still, we have that issue in my district and I think in the other districts too, so that's my concern.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Alderman Vitale?
Yeah, I like to put my 2 cents in, really. You know, the fact that is, so within the thrift stores and secondhand retail stores, and, I mean, in overall, we got about total between the appliance and any other stores, about 41 within the city. You know, and the questions it is, how many really complaints really that the police had to be involved, you know? I mean, in overall, what really the statistics that they incurs the community here for us, you know, if already we have the ruling, the ordinance on the books, you're already there. So just we talk about Alderman Lysak, just talk about C4 to restrain some of the thrift shops. So, but in overall, throughout the community, I mean, every district maybe has got a few of them, really, but most of them, in general, they're legit people that try to make a living, you know. So if anybody thinks we can bring, you know, some great business to some of those areas within our city, even the food pantry on Burnham, which years ago they used, that happens a few times where people put their bags of clothing outside, but it was, the problem was, it's gone. I mean, people go there to pick up their food. There is used clothing that people that really need, and the people that have to be registered. So in general, really, there's no complaints. I mean, maybe there's 1 or 2 that occurs within our system here, and we try to make us some of the things really to open up something that which to me is, we should really. I mean, I think the way the ordinance is, I think it's been fine for all those years. I don't see any problem, really. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Probst?
when it comes to this ordinance, a couple things. When I was elected, one of the things that we had talked about, and subsequently since then, is the idea of improving West Dallas's image and planning for our future instead of doing things and then trying to plan after we already have things here. Seems like putting the cart in front of the horse. So instead, step back, figure out how we're going to handle this resale situation. There are 19 resale stores in my district. My biggest problem has not been addressed by the changes in our ordinances. The problem that I have is the close proximity that these resale stores tend to have to one another. And I don't want to see a neighborhood in West Dallas with a resale store on all 4 corners. I think that that does not necessarily bode well for the neighborhood. I am not being an elitist. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. I believe, though, that we have to look at the big picture in the way in which we are trying to grow our city and progress it forward. And I don't necessarily think you do that the way that we are moving forward on this ordinance.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysak?
Again, I'd like to iterate that many of these resale stores are not what you think of as a resale store. And you can't paint one broad brush stroke on all of these businesses. We have 2 gun shops in West Dallas that are located, one on 60th Street, one in the 4th District on 84th, that are considered resale stores because they resell guns. You got a guitar store in the 3rd District. You've got a number of baseball card stores in the 2nd District, the 1st District, that sell sporting paraphernalia, used baseball cards, they trade them. You've got jewelry stores that do the same thing. You've got coin stores that buy and sell coins. And yet we're going to paint all of these businesses with the same brush and say, these are all resale shops and they can't locate near each other. I contend that's the kind of businesses we want in West Dallas. I want those stores and I don't want to limit them. And so I'm voting in favor of this ordinance, and I can't understand why we would want to drive those people out of the city or restrict them.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst?
I agree 100%. I don't want anyone to misunderstand. My issue is not with those types of resale stores. I think the Uncle Bob's, the baseball trading, I think that we have an image in our minds that is conjured when we talk about secondhand or thrift or resale stores. We individually come up with what that image looks like in our head. I can tell you that I never think of Uncle Bob's music store when I consider a thrift or a resale, yet I very much understand, by definition, it is one. I wish there was a way that we could subdivide further these types of businesses, because I'm worried about, again, that store that at Sunday night, somebody drops by their rummage sale leftovers and just leaves it. The image, the look that tends to bring to a neighborhood. It's what that does to the fabric of our neighborhoods that I have the biggest issue with. I don't want to paint with a broad brush. I understand that the differences between our businesses. I wish there was a way that we could further subdivide these businesses so that we could pull out the ones that are truly causing our problems.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Vitale?
You know what really it kind of bothered me when, we're talking about neighborhoods and at this point, but we have to realize that when the gun shop moved in right on and Grand by Longfellow School, we have to realize that a gun shop within our city walls, within our city boundaries, a gun shop could move right next door of my property, next door neighbors. They could move in a gun shop in a residential area, which we have no control over it. And we worry about some small business try to make a living in West Dallas. I'm sorry that I feel that way. But for a gun shop, the federal government, we don't have any control over it. They can come right next door to my house and putting a gun shop. So, and we worry about some of those issues. To me, it's really irrelevant, really, at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine?
Me too.
Alderman May?
Watching this go back and forth, I'm a little bit confused as to the way the discussion is going. On one hand, we hear we don't want thrift stores, we're fine with them in C4. On the other hand, we're saying resale stores, we're okay with them in some instances and sometimes not others. When Playroom Closet, before we found out that they're going to be closing, we used to go there, me and my wife, frequently for kids' toys and things like that. Children's Orchard, Uncle Bob's, Record Head. The newest shop we have in the 5th District, Carry On, I would guess is considered a resale shop. These are good places. So I'm a little bit confused as to what the problem is. We have to allow these sorts of stores somewhere. So is someone proposing that we only allow resale stores within a certain district? Is someone proposing that we eliminate them altogether? We can't do that, by the way. We can't do that by law. Is someone suggesting instead of making them permitted uses, perhaps they're special uses? Would that help alleviate some concerns, that maybe we make these special uses in C1 through C3 and allow them in C4 and M1? I guess I'm hearing there's a problem with the definition between resale and thrift, but the truth, we want these resale stores. What is the underlying problem, and if you're against it, what's your proposal to change it? I guess is my question. I'm thoroughly confused. I like these resale stores that I mentioned. I have no problem with where they're going. I see a clear definition between a thrift store and a resale store. Those who are against this, what do you want to see changed? And I don't want to sit here and Frankenstein it tonight, but I'm just curious to know, what is the change you would make? We have to allow them somewhere.
Alderman Haas?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Devine. Yeah, to Alderman May, to answer your question, my concern, to put it more succinctly, is that you have a thrift store that calls itself a resale shop. It looks like to the average observer, to the average citizen, it looks like a thrift store, but it labels itself a resale shop, and it labels itself a resale shop by simply not accepting donations at that location. And then we have more thrift stores, which is something that we're trying to avoid in our community. And I agree with the comments of the other alderpersons that the existing resale shops are an attribute to our community, are positive to our community, and all these existing resale shops have been established under our existing ordinance, which would be a reason to not change the ordinance. It would be a reason to maintain the status quo. So the big concern, again, to put it succinctly, a thrift store moves in and it looks like a thrift store, but it calls itself a resale shop, and we don't have any way of enforcing our ordinance, or it's a difficult measure of enforcing our ordinance, as was addressed by Alderman Weigel.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst?
Alderman May, just to answer, and I think I've been pretty clear, my issue has to be the proximity to one another. We do this with check catching places. I recognize there's a safety issue there, as City Attorney Scott Post has explained to us, but I have a problem with a plethora of the same type of business, especially one of this nature, within close proximity to one another in the neighborhood.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman May?
And that confuses me as well. A resale record store opens up to a resale bookstore, opens up to a resale guitar store. I mean, these are all really nice things to have. Why would we want to space them out? If the
Because those
problem
aren't the businesses
is
we're
something
talking
else related to the aesthetics of the business or something like that, then let's change the ordinances to deal with the aesthetics of those businesses. I'm just going to offer this as a suggestion, and I don't know if we want to take it up tonight or not, but if the concern is the type of quality that we're getting out of these businesses, maybe we, instead of making them permitted in all these uses, identify a few of them as special use areas. To Alderman Haas's comment that, it's a thrift store operating as a resale store, what would prevent the Salvation Army from opening up, and I'm just using them as an example, okay? What would prevent them from opening up a shop, call it a business, they call it Thrift Tool, it's called. They collect donations at one spot and they sell them at that one. If that's the concern, I wouldn't call that a thrift store or a resale store. They're selling goods. They're not buying products at that location and reselling them, right? Right? I mean, I still don't quite understand what the big problem is. I don't know if I'm stating this clearly. I'm not seeing the problem. Any business now I could open up a shop and have a place downtown Milwaukee collecting goods, bring it into West Dallas and sell it as a brand new good or as another item. It wouldn't be considered either thrift or resale because I'm not collecting and buying. I'm not taking donations at that location. That's perfectly legal, the way I understand this.
Any other discussion?
Correct.
Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
No.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
No?
Ranky.
No.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
No.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
6 in favor, 4 opposed.
Motion carries.
That is all, Mayor Devine.
That is all. Next, we have License and Health Committee. Alderman Chapletsky.
I'd like to report on items number 34 through 44, 50 through 57, 59, and 61 through 65 on tonight's agenda. These are various license communications which are voted for approval subject to necessary requirements or to place on file, with the exception of number 34, which was to approve the license with the current stipulations that are on them and deny the dance hall license. This is by all 5 members. I'd like to move for the adoption of this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Then we have number 58 on tonight's agenda. This is voted in favor by 4 members, with 1 member being excused. I'd like to move for adoption of the remainder of the committee report.
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Chapletsky, second by
Road.
Alderman Rote. Sorry, I didn't hear who that was. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Present.
9 in favor, none opposed, 1 present.
Motion carries.
Oh, that's you, Mickey. I didn't know.
You would have voted no, huh, Vince? Okay, Advisory Committee, Alderman Reinke.
Mayor Devine. I direct the council's attention to items number 66 through number 69 on tonight's agenda. 1 appointment and 3 reappointments approved by the committee. I move for their approval. Mayor Devine.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Vitale. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky. 10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
That's all, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting at 7 PM Tuesday, May 19th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.
That's enough of these 10 to nothing.